Hey, this ain't a drill. Only time I playing is on the field. And when I'm on the field, no, I got mad skills. And you know we about to eat this a fast meal. Y'all gotta pay for this heat like a gas bill. We keep on coming back, so yeah, they mad still. Everyone sick, make them pay me some bad bills. Red, white, and blue like Superman, so you know we eating at the Super Bowl. Kill the competition, set up the funeral. Josh Allen catching all the shots you go for. We callin' blitz. Ready to start, we ain't calling no quits. I'm the #1 draft pick. A lot of y'all talk, but I ain't hearing it. Only listen to Keyshawn and hit talk about the Bills dominating on the field. All our players got them skills. Buffalo gon' make a kill when we talk about the Bills. Dominating on the field, and our players got them skills. Buffalo gon' make a kill.
What's going on? Welcome back to another live episode of the Post Podium Podcast, home of the all truth, no sodium takes. I am your co-host, Aramis.
It's 40 Keys.
In the building.
You smell something?
Is the heat on?
No, he ain't. Nah,
You got air conditioning on?
nah. You smell something burning?
Junie, you eating something?
No.
It must be me. It smells real 41 in here for some reason. I don't know why.
Damn.
Happy birthday, brother.
Damn. June, I need you to get on Key's camera real quick and hit the focus in the middle of the screen because it's like blurring in and out for him. It's doing that for me too. So if you can get to both of those, I think it's more focused on the microphone than anything. All right. So
You just gonna gloss over it?
yeah, I'm gonna gloss right over
Nope.
that.
Everybody, 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you.
That's not
Happy birthday to you.
that's,
All right. For now.
okay.
I might do it again. I don't know.
Yeah. All right. This might have been a mistake. I was told by several people to relax on my birthday and not do the show, but I chose to do it anyway. I might be regretting it now.
You will. You will.
Okay. All right. So let's just start with let's start with this. Thank you, Laura. What up, D? What up, Roy? What up? Going through changes. Buffalo Bills, the unstoppable force. Listen, if they do what I'm talking about, they should do today. Trust me, they will be. Big Papa Bills is absolutely our tight ends, our booty cheeks. Do you agree with that? Our tight ends and booty cheeks?
No.
Okay.
No.
No. And then I guess that Billy D's got some breaking news, possibly a possible trade. He says Henderson, but I think he's trying to say Hendrickson.
Hendrickson for 2025. That already happened. That'd be at 2026 too.
Well, yeah.
If they put it off with the 30th with the dead last cap, that's I don't know. I don't even know what to think of that.
I mean, they say the cap is fluid. It's not,
They just told you. He even told you he lied. He didn't say that, but he said he lied. He told you. He said
What
we
did he
have
say?
we don't have it. Remember, Bean said it. He said we don't have it. He said this year is not gonna. We gotta recap. We gotta rebuild the cap. We gotta get back in control of it. He said it. So no.
Then why sign all these 3-year deals with these guys? Mike Hoyt and Josh Palmer. Why go through all of that when you know part of the reason or part of the issue you had even before you traded Stephon Diggs was your salary cap was trash.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure. I think those contracts are really incentive laden. So I mean, they got away with $12 million deals really worth like $5. They got away with
you mean Palmer's or
yeah.
Oh wow.
You know, I mean, Hoyt's like, I mean, they're really not worth anywhere near what they say they are. So even it's funny, even Josh Allen has an incentive in his contract. He gets $500,000 if he wins the Super Bowl. I mean,
it's not even worth it.
I'm gonna say $300 million was 500,000. What's 500,000? He already said it was $5 mil. Was 500,000. So yeah, that is what it is.
Somebody got gas. What?
I don't know.
Thank you, Videsh. Thomas, thank you, man. Roy says Bean should cut back on some of these contracts with void years. That's what I think got us into this place in the first place.
Oh, whoa, whoa! Who said that?
Go ahead and take a bow. Go ahead and take a bow. You definitely said it
when there were 17 people watching this show. That's how long ago. I've been saying it since we started this show.
Yeah, for real.
I sucked at everything else except that point. You keep kicking the can down the road, you're gonna hit the wall. I remember saying that.
Yeah. Even like and this is the crazy part, because the Eagles are now doing what the Bills did, just to a higher degree. And what I mean by a higher degree, they're spending more than what the Bills spent, throughout that time period on, in my opinion anyway, players with higher levels of talent, right? And the biggest difference now between how the end of those series of decisions look right now is we're seeing the Bills pay for it drastically. And with all of the salary cap increase that's expected to be there by the time all the players that the Eagles sign expect to hit, the salary cap is going to be so high, it won't even matter. You know what I mean? So it's almost like their 5-year plan was way better than the Bills' 5-year plan. The Bills' 5-year plan was just trying to tread water in a sense.
Yeah. I will say the Bills got caught with their pants down with COVID. That salary cap bump. I mean, obviously, it was a perfect storm for the Eagles because all the guys that we're talking about weren't there when COVID happened. They're relatively new, so they're and you got to remember, if you're smart with when you load the contract, you got guys that get the money in the front end, some guys in the middle, some guys in the end, some guys throughout the whole contract. You have to stagger it just right, and the Bills just didn't have a chance to do it. So there is some yes. So if this is negative, I don't really care because it's not. There is some grace to be given because they did get caught in a bad situation with guys that are still in this team that that they just couldn't get away from. It was a good signing at the time.
Yeah.
But then when you compound it with like Von Millers and stuff like that, that's when you got to say no. Right. We got a defensive head coach. We got, we have the staff in place to get a rookie or something like that to go in there and get you what amounted to 9 sacks, 8.5 sacks, and get 2 guys for that if you have to.
Yeah.
Very cheap. And that's what they didn't do. And that's where they're gonna get caught again if they keep doing it with things they do with paying for older talent.
Yeah, I agree. Look, the draft class that we have this year, I said this before, I'll say it again, but I want to add a little bit to it. This year's draft class, the timing was off, in my opinion. This draft class should have been something we went after last year, in my opinion, right? Because a lot of the positions that we ended up taking, we needed last year too. And instead of going out and signing Joey Bosa, we would have had year 2 of Landon Jackson or whoever that player was last year. You know what I'm saying? And all of the unexpected success that we had last year would have been 1 year under the belt of that draft class, having that time on the field and having that experience in the AFC Championship game in high leverage situations. So that was the reason why I didn't really like the draft class now, because you already signed a bunch of guys that are expected to start, and now you're bringing in all these young guys that have to sit. They won't get that experience right away. And not saying that every player needs that. Like we've seen some players, Jordan Love is a primary example of a guy who sat for years and years, and he actually ended up being pretty good. Now, the jury is still technically out on him because last year was down from the year before. Mm-hmm. But there are examples like that around the league of guys who, come in a little bit later and they're fine. But we also see the other side of the spectrum where guys come in immediately like Trey White and they're great. You know what I'm saying? So I guess in a sense, I want to see a little bit more of the sink or swim mentality with these rookies. Get in there. If you can't handle it, we've got a veteran behind you that's good enough to go in and hold the position until you learn what you need to learn, and then come back in later on in the season.
Right. And cognitive dissonance said we've been drafting those positions. They just haven't been hitting as often as we needed. And then he said we double dipped in defensive line 2021 with Groot and Boogie, and we gave up a first and third for Elam. Now, this is my counterpoint to that. I mean, while that's a good point, Groot is a player that's on this team that has been re-signed, so he is a good player in this exercise. However, what you're saying is that you have to build on that. Yes. They left after 2021. They pretty much left that position alone. Obviously they brought in Javon Solomon. They brought in some later round cornerbacks. But once you get Christian Benford, we're going to rest in our laurels and say an injured Trey White and now Rasul. That's good enough. They're both 30 years old. That's good enough. No. Right. There should be another guy with Christian Benford. There should be another guy with Groot. There should be somebody else between 2021 and now. And cognitive dissonance said Carter last year and third. Not okay. You know that whatever. No, whatever.
No.
That's not towards you, Cogs. I don't know. I'm going to short you. I'm not going to say it the whole time.
I just call him CD.
CD. Okay. All right. You know, I mean, yeah, Carter's a defensive tackle, but what else do you have? You got Ed Oliver in 2019. That was what, 6 years now?
Yeah.
You got, I mean, you can.
How's that $84 million contract looking, by the way?
It's looking kind of wishy-washy.
Kind of wishy-washy.
You know, but the thing is, that's part of the issue. When you get a Josh Allen, you give Josh Allen compatible equipment. And what I mean by that is the wide receivers that play with them.
Mm-hmm.
When you get an Ed Oliver and you give him $84 million because he played his butt off in what was that 2022, you know, you give him something that will allow him to keep doing what he's doing. You don't give him one tech that's 30 years old and say, here you go, have fun. I mean,
well, that year that he played extremely well, that was DQ's first year.
That's what I'm saying. You know, so you don't see what they do is they draft, well, to CD's point, they draft well, and then they leave it alone.
Yeah,
that's the problem.
They
you
don't
can't
build
leave
around
it
it or add to it.
Right. I mean, you look what the Eagles have done. Like D said, they got DT on top of DT on top of DT on top, and they're all. I mean, they're fighting for position. This is iron sharpens iron. This is the truest meaning of iron sharpens iron, because now you got Carter, you got Davis, and you got whoever they just drafted.
And these are like a bunch of first round picks, not a bunch of 6th and 7th round picks fighting for a spot.
And that's the thing, they're going to keep doing it. So if one gets hurt, it's not like, we're screwed. No, I mean, obviously we're not talking about Jalen Hurts, but to the point, their defense is almost their calling card at this point. You know, they got Saquon Barkley and they got AJ Brown, but that defense is something that you don't see, you know, across the league. And they're deep. We always scrounge for our depth. Bills don't have depth, but the thing is, we don't have that top end talent to establish a depth behind it.
Right.
Our top end talent is most teams' depth. So, you know, by virtue of that, you know, and I mean, I'm not being critical of the guys we have, but you're talking about Terrell Bernard, who's not commanding number 5 money at the linebacker spot. You know, Gregory still got 20 mil, but he's not top. What is he, top 14, top whatever at defensive end?
19 million.
So I mean, you're not breaking the bank on anybody, but you're breaking the bank on everybody, it seems. You know, I'm gonna get into what I mean by that a little more. So CD, stay with me on this one, because we're gonna talk about, I really want to talk about those press conferences. That's been the buzz too. And that feeds into this as well. So yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry. Let's see.
No, you're good.
I don't even remember.
So let's touch on this, because Billy D asked about it again. He says, what do we think about this Henderson? You got to clarify, bro. Like, do you mean Henderson or do you mean Hendrickson, the defensive end?
I saw a rumor. I saw Trey Hendrickson for a second, like 3 days ago.
Really?
Yeah, it was something I saw.
So he's probably
X.
talking about Hendrickson.
Yeah, it was something I saw on X. I mean, it was. I don't remember who said it, but to me, it was just a rumor. I haven't seen it on any. I mean, you would see that on ESPN. You would see it on NFL Net if that was something that really took steam. So if Billy D is seeing it somewhere, if you're seeing it popping up somewhere, that's different. But I think right now it is what it is. It's a rumor.
Okay. June, we still seem to be having some autofocus issues with Key's camera. Can you check that out? So
in the black.
Yeah. No. So here's what I think about the Hendrickson deal. The pass rusher, the player, greatly benefits the team defensively, right? And I think his mentality as a whole, as being just relentless. Like he's a guy that I think was a lot like Feliciano in a sense, where he's just nasty, right? But in a way that galvanizes the team, you know. And the one thing that I think becomes highly scrutinized from a front office standpoint is how far does that influence go, right? Because realistically, I do think there is a level of caution that the Bills take to the top tier players that they draft. They still want to make sure that these are not guys coming in here like, I don't know, Micah Parsons. You know what I'm saying? Who you know, he's very influential. He's got his own podcast and stuff like that. If he starts pushing buttons in the locker room, moves get made. You know what I'm saying? From that standpoint, I mean, like a player that has, you know, that much influence over the team where the coach might lose that battle if they end up, you know, butting heads. And I think Sean and I think Bean have been very cautious in bringing players in here like that, right? They make sure that if a guy is coming in with that much influence, he's aligned with the principles and philosophies and culture mentality of the front office. So I say all that to say, I'm not sure how well Hendrickson fits in with that based on what I've seen.
Mhm.
And
yeah, that actually comes into play too. You got to think about, it's not it's one size fits all. Like you said, if this person is showing malcontent, that person is voicing his concerns. James Cook voicing their concerns. Connor McGovern, that nobody's talking about, is voicing, I'm not as business. At the end of the day, let business be business.
Yeah.
So I think to your point, you're right. And that's something that you got to think about. You said in a press conference, it's about demand. We got to look at the talent, but then there's demand as well. And in this case, it just doesn't jive. CD said missing on Von hurt us. He really can't blame Bean for taking that risk, though. If Von didn't, okay. I don't want to get into to semantics about Von Miller, but I definitely can blame the Von Miller reach on the front office. I don't think that they needed to do so. I think there were other things, and plus, if you're looking at defensive coach, you have to think about where's the money going. The money wasn't going to the offense where it was needed. Yeah, we had Steph Diggs. We had guys that we were re-signing, but they weren't bringing in that blue chip free agent for Josh Allen, for the offensive coordinator, that the head coach didn't have the knowledge of, the scheme per se is his scheme, but he doesn't have the inner workings. I want this, that. When you say, you go to build a house,
mm-hmm.
and they ask you, what do you want in your house? They're not asking you how high is this beam here high. They just say, what do you want? Because they know what construct work, what don't. They know where the support beams are. They know what you can and can't move. But what they do is ask you, what color do you want your counters? What color do you want your shades, your shutters, and stuff like that?
Right.
Because that's customizable. But what McDermott can't do on the offensive side is he can't tell you where to put your support beams, all the stuff that you need to sustain your foundation and to sustain your domicile. All he can do is offer his opinion on window dressing. I want us to run more. You figure out how to do that.
Right.
Fromer, you figure out how to do that. I want us to pass to Stephon Diggs more. That's Dayball's issue, or now Brady. Well, not now, but you know what I mean. So I think when people say I'm not blaming this person, or I am going to blame that person, you really have to think about what they really are asking and what their responsibilities and what their expertise really is. Now, we've already established that Bean isn't a personnel evaluator. We've already established that. We've seen it on what's the show? On YouTube. Anyway, we've seen it on there. We've seen it in press conferences. We've seen it with the promotion of Gray and whoever the other person was. We've seen it that they're trying to bring in more personnel people to help Bean out with the drafts and with the
you mean Terrence Gray?
Terrence Gray and whoever, it was another person too. It was I forget who.
The assistant to the general manager.
The assistant to the assistant. It was like two assistants. Gray is assistant, and now this other.
Yeah, so Terrence Gray is the assistant general manager, and then they hired another assistant to the general manager. So there's a guy that kind of directly serves the general manager, and there's a guy that serves under the general manager.
So he's a secretary,
basically.
Yeah.
And
I think that lends to we have to get better where we can, because now we realize the Von Miller thing could only happen because we had the money. They could be free with it. Now they can't be free, so we got to get serious. Now we got to button it up. So if they would have buttoned it up back then and did their due diligence, yes, I said that correctly. If they would have buttoned it up then, do you think we had to spend $20 million on a 30-year-old pass rusher? Do we have to do that? Was there nothing else you could do at all? Was there no other stone that they could turn over, or was it that they just said, we know him? He and that's what it was. And that's where my blame comes in. It's not that I think that it was a horrible pick in the sense that I don't think Von Miller flamed out. I really don't. You got, like I said, you look at his sack per snap versus Myles Garrett. He actually was.
He was still good.
He was 1/100% better than Myles Garrett in sacks per snap. So, wow. I mean, what are we doing here? Was he a bust? No, they just decided we can't pay $16 million, $19 million for a guy that's only going to play 33% of the snaps. That's what it came down to. It wasn't ace up. But see what it is, when people see Von Miller doesn't play, they're like, oh, he's washed. No, he's not washed. They couldn't sustain paying that kind of money for that kind of production is what we're seeing with James Cook as well. We're not
So-
going to pay him that for what we're going to use him for.
Right. So let me and Kev said embedded.
That's what I was going to
Yeah.
say it, but I got on a rant, so I didn't want to break it up.
No, it's good. So I was trying to make this show be as positive as possible today.
And guess what? Push the button. Push the new button.
The new one.
Okay. As long as ever. But no, what that is that's the criticism alarm. So,
oh, really?
Yeah. So when I'm gonna be more positive now. So
Okay.
when I'm criticizing something, I'm gonna do that before. I don't know if you can you like stop it when you
yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
cool. I would like, and then that's when you cut it. All right. But yeah, I want to make it, like you said, a little more positive and more upbeat. So we'll do that.
All right. So I'm glad we just hit it because for me, I think the oh gosh. The idea of letting Von Miller go to then turn around and pay another old pass rusher what, $7 million less essentially, because I don't think it's 15 million guaranteed. It's like, you know, somewhere.
It's 12.
Yeah, it's like
12. No, it's 12.6. We said.
Oh, that's right. It's
12.6,
12.6, and then I think like 8 or 9 of that is guaranteed,
Yeah.
right? So yeah, I mean, essentially, you're paying a guy you're saving $10 million tops, right? But you still got to pay you got to take the dead cap hit.
Mhm.
So you're losing space in your salary cap to try and save space in your salary cap. And then what do you do with that money? You turn around and pay another guy that's aging or injury prone and in his older age. And really, this, you know, Bosa's been injury prone his whole career. But that's the part that bothers me.
Mhm.
Is like getting the name, going after the name. It's understandable
Mhm.
because it's a name. The pedigree. You know what I'm saying? That precedes every good player.
Guess I'm gonna say right now.
What?
Do you really need a name when you have?
When you got Josh Allen?
That's the thing. You know, you got Josh Allen. You just had Steph Diggs. You got, you have guys, and nobody on defense that I can think of readily.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you get Joey Bosa, that name, that Von Miller name, when you're terrible and you want to put butts in seats.
There you go.
There's no standing room at the Ralph Wilson Rich Stadium Highmark experience. We'll call it until it's gone, and then we'll start
Well,
something
that
else.
used to be a Ralph Wilson Stadium move.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You get the name, you bring in people, and we still stink, but you're going to cheer for him because you want to see that guy. You've seen him on TV. Now we brought him to you. It's like a circus.
Yeah, we ain't got no quarterbacks, so we ain't winning no games.
We
But
ain't
guess
winning no
what?
games, but
It's
guess what?
fun to watch.
We got him.
Right.
Now we don't have to. And CD, I agree 100%. I think a lot of us had just enough of the excuses and lack of accountability. Yeah, I think that's accurate. I really think that I agree with that 100%. It's almost to the point where it's turning us against ourselves.
Yes.
That's what it is. There's no discourse in the chat per se, but if we took this chat to some of the other podcasts, we would be in a civil war.
Yeah, absolutely.
It would be a civil war. Even the people in here that disagree with us would still be in a civil war on our side when they hear some of the stuff they say.
I like to think so. Yeah,
Yeah.
I like to think they wouldn't just turn on us. Like
No.
but so I guess in a sense, what I wanted to do today, and let's switch gears here because there's a few things in stuff we heard that I want to get to, but I think this is kind of a good place to kind of launch the rest of those conversations. The idea that I had in my mind when I was thinking about like what the heck are we supposed to do as a team, because we're finding our place, we're finding ourselves in this still place, in this cycle that we continue to go through of recycling big names, big name older players, and getting a bunch of high floor rookies in here, and none of it really panning out in the way that we see other teams have these big booms from these late round picks, and you know what I mean? Like, and when I think big booms, I think Puka Nacua. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a big boom receiver, a guy who's immediately elite in fantasy football, immediately elite in his contributions to the team. He's definitely the number one receiver now. You know what I'm saying? And I guess the closest thing that we have to that is Christian Benford because he's the number one corner on our team, right?
Mhm.
But I mean, never mind. I don't even want to get into a debate about Christian Benford. My point is this.
I'm not saying the other name either.
The
other one, number 4, not doing it.
yeah,
Nope.
we're not doing
I don't have
that
enough
today.
time for this. I'm not doing it.
Right. So, but my point is this. There has to be some way to continue to improve this team every year that doesn't involve let's just take another stab at it with a new rookie class. You know, you get what I'm saying? And look, these guys are going to contribute this year, but they're not going to be world beaters. And I'm talking about Josh Palmer and Elijah Moore. They're not going to be world beaters, right? There is something to be said about the definition of everybody eats that Joe Brady gave, and we'll get to that in a second. But
Yeah.
even with all of that, I came to the conclusion that there needs to be additions to the schemes in order for there to be real noticeable improvements.
You said that perfect at the perfect time. Reason why, because CD just said Dorian Williams actually looked pretty good last year. We know, but
Yeah.
they won't play him. See,
Exactly.
that's what he's talking about. Additions to the scheme, 4-3.
Yep.
We know this. Dorian Williams is actually good, and I think it's because John might have said that some of the guys on we need better linebackers, and they're going through it right now with Bernard, and they just brought in Williams. So that would it's like you were almost looking at it, but you weren't. I know you weren't. But yeah, that's right on time with the fact that we are not adaptive at all right now. We need to be.
Right. Okay, so I was just trying to write this down before I forgot it, but I think in a sense when you think about an addition to our scheme that I think puts us in the you will never stop us mode in the NFL, I immediately started doing some research on the 10 formation. 10 formation is basically 5 wide.
Mhm.
You run quads against everybody in the league, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what I'm not saying, because I don't want like the people that really study football to like start shooting darts at me for this. I don't mean you run that as your base formation. You don't have to do that, but it can be 50% of your formations.
Why can't it be more than that? I mean, you got to think about it. If you're running a 10, technically you could use Dalton Kincaid as a slot.
Yeah, you split him out wide.
Yeah, so technically it still works. The only problem with a 10, and I'm not going to have to do your point, but the only problem with a 10 is we need another running back. We would need that blocking because all he's going to do is we don't have the inline tight end block for Josh. We have a 5-on-4.
So here's my contention to that, because I did think about that too. I really thought this through in terms of how this offense can defend itself and how it can attack as well, right? So when you think about blitzing the 10, you immediately start thinking, well, they only got 5 blockers. They need a running back that's got to stand back there and help Josh if they blitz, right? Josh Allen is the least sacked quarterback in the league consistently year in and year out. I don't think there's ever been a quarterback since Josh has been Josh freaking Allen or JA-17. Since he's become that, there hasn't been another quarterback in the league that's better at not getting sacked than Josh Allen, right? So what does Josh Allen really need if he's that good at evading sacks and getting out of trouble? What he needs is outlets, right? So my thought process is you actually need running backs like the ones that we have that have good hands, that have ability in the passing game to run routes and get open against linebackers and safeties, right? So instead of trying to defend against the blitz, you attack the blitz. Every quarterback is taught wherever the blitz is going, that's where you throw the ball to because there's an open space there, especially when you have 4 wide receivers out there. There's too much speed and too much route running ability on the field at that point in time for you to try and gamble and leave a space open on the field and blitz. So it almost makes a defense have to be desperate when they blitz, right? So I guess in a nutshell, what I'm saying is if you're going to blitz me, I'm sending my running back I'm sending him out hot. And that's where I'm going. I'm immediately getting him the ball. Now, here's the other part of this. The 4 wide receivers that we have, let's say you were to take Elijah Moore off the field. You put Khalil Shakir out there and you put Dalton Kincaid out wide or Dawson Knox, whoever you want to put out there. Doesn't matter. Now you got 4 guys on the field that can block. They can all block. You get a running back in space with basically no defenders if the team is blitzing. You got safeties that got to try and recover and get up there, but that's going to be tough. It's going to be very tough to cover that much space and get in position to bring down James Cook.
We weren't saying that name.
I'm sorry.
Nah, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I'm messing around.
No, but I'm thinking about this from a schematic standpoint. You don't have enough defenders at that point. There's too many weapons out there and too much space, especially for a running back in that scenario that I'm given. So let's move on to the next stage. Well, the next stage is now, okay, well, in the passing game with the receivers, let's take the running back out of the equation, right? Let's just say we do keep James Cook back there to block. He doesn't run a route and the defense doesn't blitz. Well, now what do you have? You have 4 wide receivers out there. You got Keon Coleman on the inside. You got Khalil Shakir on the inside. On the outside, I would put Elijah Moore and I would put Josh Palmer on the outside. Those are my outside receivers. Those are my man beaters. So if I really need to get to
No, not that one. This one.
Oh,
this one.
Yeah. Oh, hey, that's right. That's right. No, but here's the thing. The reason this is not so far fetched is because the Bills already ran 4 receiver sets last year.
You know, the sad thing about what he said was when I did my research, because we usually don't talk about this, but you mentioned this, so I said, okay, the running back is the issue. Okay, we need, and you've laid out a credible point as to why it doesn't really matter. But I'm thinking, dang, when we did it with Dayball, who was our running back?
Yeah, it was Devin Singletary,
and he's still one of the better blocking running backs in the league. See, that's why I say it really doesn't matter. But if you need a running back to block and you want to sacrifice on the run, you want to go air heavy again, do your thing. That you can give up James Cook and go back to Devin Singletary for if you want to. I don't want to. Somebody said something about I'm sorry, I keep cutting your points off, but
no, you're good.
What's your beef with James Cook? John, have you seen the show? I'm gonna let the rest of them fill you in while I won't say his name. I'm not the one you meant that to. Honestly, I'm not. And Kevin, thank you. Kevin, thank you. He didn't block. It's not that he couldn't. He didn't. I sent it in our Discord. I sent a picture of Kyron Williams.
Yeah.
How he blocked in the Rams offense. Did you ever see him stand back there and start block? No. He chipped the guy into the tackle and went on his route.
Right.
You tell me James Cook can't do that?
Exactly.
Are you seriously telling me that?
Right.
Anybody could do that.
Yep.
You ain't got to stand there and anchor. You just got to bump into him and get on your way. He runs a 4.2.
Yep.
Why are we making this higher than we have to be? If you don't want to pay $15 million, you don't want to pay $12 million, you don't want James Cook in Buffalo for $8, say it.
Now you see why we don't mention James Cook on the show.
That's it.
But I want to get to this because we still got a lot to get to. Pop says, and when you add Josh's ability to avoid getting sacked, he is a blitz beater himself. Exactly. That was the next stage. Is if the play is not there, you have what? Maybe one defender, one linebacker that has a shot at getting Josh Allen down, and that's it. Everybody else is playing man. Even if they're playing zone, everybody's so far spread out. You're still only going to have maybe a linebacker and a safety if the safety drops down and they're playing cover 3 or something like that. But other than that, it's Josh against 2 defenders. We've seen what that looks like. He eats that for breakfast. It's not an issue, right? So again, the last stage of this is the run game, right? In the run game, when you've got 4 wide receivers out there, you have to if the Bills show themselves to be a true threat with 4 receivers out there and all those receivers are getting attention, and by attention I mean getting the ball consistently, right? You're forcing the defense to respect 4 receivers being on the field, which means they're either going to have to cheat with a safety down in order to kind of cover that the middle of the field and help that middle linebacker, or you're keeping those safeties deep to protect the corners. So either way, you're still dealing with 2 defenders behind the defensive line. You now have an advantage whether the defense wants it or not. You got 5 offensive linemen. You've got a running back that just needs to find a space and beat 1 defender after he gets through the line. That's it. 1 defender. If there's a safety down there, cool. What you do is you go what is it? You go read option. You go read option, right? And then you have the running back hit the hole and Josh can run right behind him. Now what? Josh against 1 defender. We've seen what that looks like. He eats that for breakfast. To me, there's so many advantages of having 4 receivers on the field. Now, again, to bring it back to somebody was making a point about Sean would hate it. They ran 3-by-1s last year. That's 4 receivers on the field. Now they did sub out one of the receivers for a tight end for the most part, if I'm not mistaken, but that's still 4 receivers on the field. So I think Joe knows that there are little nuances and things that he's got to. I don't want to make it seem like there's an issue in the building, but I think Joe Brady knows that there's things like that he's got to kind of sneak into the fold in a sense that still provide the advantages of a strong a run attack with the ability to kind of spread the defense out and let Josh make plays. But if the Bills found a way to successfully run a 10, bro, I'm sorry, it's lights out. What are you going to do defensively? I don't think there's anything a defense could do. Even with the Eagles, if they want to pass rush, fine, pass rush. But realistically, they only got 3 good corners. It ain't like they're super deep at that position. They got 3 really good corners. Their safeties, they're young now. They're not great, right? So you're talking about Josh Allen against what? Zach Bond? I'll take that all day long. All day long. So let me know what y'all think in the chat. I think this is an amazing idea, especially if the Bills decided to keep James Cook. You put that guy on the field with his ability to run routes and to run the ball in zone packages. I'm sorry. I don't know how you stop that.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, Zoomer, change your name to that, what you just put in there. Change your name.
To what? Who?
He said, I'm Cook Fatigue. I want to say, hi, Cook Fatigue. I would have said, hi, how you doing, Cook Fatigue?
Yeah, right. Yeah. I look, I get it. I get it, man. I get it totally.
No, I honestly, I am too. I've said it. I don't know if you guys are in the Discord looking, but you're not responding or whatever. But I'm over it. I'm ready for him to go and just to pull the Band-Aid off. He's going to be good, and there's going to be a fair amount of Bills fans and that they're going to say, "Why didn't you do that here?" Because that wasn't the scheme. People don't understand. You don't always do everything you can. You have to play in a scheme. Mm-hmm. Marshawn Lynch, was he great in Buffalo? Great, no. He wasn't good at all. Well, he was showing promise, but his numbers weren't great at all. Period.
Yeah.
Then he goes to Seattle. Like, what happened there? He just hated Buffalo. No, it was a different scheme with better players.
That's right.
And he got off. That's what happens.
Yeah. And the other part too is their quarterback situation was actually a little bit worse than ours at the time, as I think we had Lossman when he left, right?
The Lossman was Edwards.
It might
have been Edwards. Either way.
Yeah, either way. But I mean, they had, we had some young guys that had some kind of talent. The guys they had, I'm trying to remember the name of the kid, Matt Flynn.
Oh yeah, Matt Flynn.
Yeah, Matt Flynn had just gotten there, and they had another guy with longer hair that was he wasn't great either.
He was good for the Sassoon Vidal. But hey, I did want to circle back on. There was a conversation about Joey Bosa's contract. It's 1 year, max term 12.6, average salary 12.6, signing bonus $9 million, guaranteed at signing it's $12 million, total guaranteed 12. Let's see, playing time incentives he has. He has 250,000, 750,000. Potential 1 million potential for playing time incentives, sack incentives are pretty much the same. So I guess you could say he can earn more than 12.6, but these are not likely to be achieved. So I think that's the gotcha on this one.
Okay. Pop says, I don't know about the Eagles can pressure with QB with 4 and drop 7. That's hard to beat. You know I love a good chess game, Pop. Look, what I would do with the Eagles is I would throw James Cook in the passing game at their linebackers all day long. They're bigger. They're bigger. I don't want to say bigger like they're huge, but they're bigger than most of the linebackers in the league now. They're more built for run defense in a sense. So I just throw James Cook at him and just run option routes or just run this. The Bills did the same exact thing against the Detroit Lions, right? Because the Detroit Lions, they had a great secondary last year. They had the young safety that stepped up, and they had the young corner they drafted. They already had another established number 1 corner that, you know what I mean? So the secondary was good, but they ran Ty Johnson at their linebackers a few times, and it paid off dividends. You know what I mean? So against great defenses like that to me is the X factor in running a 10 is I've got a running back that can go out there and destroy your running back in the passing game. And guess what? You can get all the pressure you want. If your linebacker can't cover my running back, what are you going to do? You can't cheat a safety because now I got you over the top. One of my guys on the outside, both of them can run great deep routes. You know what I'm saying? So you're going to have to choose at that point.
Yep. And Spin, who did you send your information to? Was it me or A? Because we told you to send us your stuff. So I don't know. I didn't get anything. So if you send it to me, send it back. Send your email again. He said, where's the link for this imaginary Discord? I didn't get anything from Spin.
Spin? Yeah. Did we get an email from you, Spin? I don't think we did. Well, maybe I did not put the email in the chat, but I can. Well,
I put my X handle in there, and you have yours in there as well. So okay. Yeah, send us something on our X's. We'll get you in there. I was kind of looking for you.
All right, I'm gonna put the email in the chat right now. Let's go ahead and get rid of all these restrictions.
Yeah, and Kev, yeah, I know Buffalo cops were harassing Marshawn, but I can tell you, I knew him, at the time we talked all the time, and he wasn't being utilized correctly, and people thought he just hated Buffalo. He didn't hate Buffalo. Did he want to leave Buffalo? Yes, but that didn't impact him on the field. Oh yeah, turn that off. That all to one of your things again. I'll do it.
No.
Okay, once you do it 4 times, no problem.
No. So here's what I found out. What I found out is the all is for these messages to go to all the platforms.
Yeah.
So if we're only putting it on YouTube, somebody watching on the other platforms can't see. You know what I'm saying?
I did X, but yeah, I forget what I did, but
yeah.
But yeah, no, and that's my insider knowledge. I got some for once. Yes, I got some. Yeah, no, I can tell you he was, and it was too big for him. It was way too big for him. Going to Seattle, he got to talk on the field and not talk off the field. And Buffalo was all about the spectacle. And he really does have a social issue with appearances and interactions. So what you see on TV and all that stuff, he might have grown into it, but he's playing a hell of a role because that's not who he is. He's not a bad person, that's all I'm saying. But he likes to keep to himself. And I told the story about the autograph and all that stuff. He can't do it. I told you, he told me, he said, Key, I don't want to do this no more. This is the second year. I don't want to do this no more. And I'm standing at a ticket counter making like $10 an hour. And he's saying, I don't want to do this no more. I'm like, you want to do this instead?
You know what though? So I watched a couple of good podcasts about body. They were both pretty much body language podcasts, like body language experts and stuff. But there was this one lady who she grew up feeling like she was just awkward and it was hard for her to make friends and stuff like that. So she kind of talks about these tactics and techniques that you can do to make people to make people more likable to you and to make yourself more likable to other people so that you can make friends easier and so that you can get raises and stuff like that, because a lot of that has to do with your social skills, right? Your ability to communicate both verbally and non-verbally. Well, anyway, the idea of why am I losing what we were just talking about?
Marshawn Lynch.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, why are you thinking about that? I had something, but go ahead.
All right, so she talked about ambiverts. And ambiverts are people who are what?
Go ahead, talk. I'm gonna put it on
Oh
the
yeah, it is. No, so anyway, ambiverts are people who are socially charged by the atmosphere around them, right? So what that means is if you are the type of person that once you finish in a social event, like if you go to a party or something like that, and you leave that party and you're just like, oh my God, that was a lot. You know what I'm saying? Like you usually feel like super drained. More times than not, you're an ambivert. You're somebody who is not an extrovert.
Mm-hmm.
You know, extroverts they get charged up by parties or big live events and stuff like that, and they can just keep going and going and going, right? For ambiverts, they can step up and operate in those atmospheres, but it takes a lot out of them. Right. Yeah. And then you have the lowest part of that spectrum, which is introverts, who don't even go to parties.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, I say all this to say, I see Marshawn Lynch as more of that ambivert type where he can get up, you know what I mean? For however he needs to get up in terms of his energy, his contribution to a social atmosphere or whatever the case may be. But it takes a lot out of him. And from my personal experience, I hate saying it this way, but Buffalo is one of those cities where you get you get drained a lot. It's a lot. You know what I'm saying? It depending on where you are and all that kind of stuff. Like there's certain levels you have to go up to in order to be able to operate socially. You know what I'm saying? And that can be hard for people like that.
Yeah, I think for him, what it was, the difference is that he can't be fine. He can be himself. See what it was with Marshawn. Marshawn is the epitome. Well, I shouldn't say it, but I will instead. He's the epitome of Oakland. Naturally, I don't want to say he's a hood dude, but he's close. And you can't do that while you're representing the Buffalo Bills. You can't do that while you're representing NFL. You can't, because when you see his podcast and stuff like that, you see him now he's cursing. Yeah. N-word this, N-word that, N-word. You can't do that when you're being employed by a football team. But that's him. Now, when you see his mom, I don't know where he got it from because his mom ain't like that. I mean, she the first time she was rough around the edges, but every time I interacted with her after that, she was like a school teacher, church lady. Super nice. Give me a hug, just and third. Keisha from across the hallway. I'm like, yo, and so it was a nice dynamic, and me and him became cordial, and I don't say friends, but I got invited out a couple times. Yeah. The whole too bad the offensive line was terrible because I got invited by Autumn. Langston Walker's mom asked me to show him around Buffalo. I had a low rider Grand Prix. I'm like, you 6'9", 360. If you want to roll, I don't know if you're gonna fit on that side. Well, you can roll if you want to, and I mean it was a good time to be in the not public eye, but in a celebrity eye, if you will. Yeah. Because they came through and we were all like the same age. They were older than me by a year or two. So it was great. But now I'm looking at you guys, I'm like, oh, these are my children, because I'm 41 and if I had them, I've been 20 and a grown an adult. So I think that's the dynamic. When he was in Buffalo, like you said, it's draining here because you're a spectacle. You're the center of attention in Buffalo. Right. The city is not as small as people think, but they make it seem smaller than it actually is. When you go to Seattle, you're on the field, then it's like go throw some fish over there by the bay or whatever, the ocean. And that's it.
There's enough people there to where you're not the only hot thing in town.
Yep. And he's way closer to home too.
Yeah, that's right.
Way closer to home. So I mean, all that ties into the emergence of beast mode.
Yeah, that's a great point. So one of the other things I wanted to get to also, well, let's start here. What is your initial assessment of Joe Brady's press conference?
You want to start with that one, huh? Get your finger on that button now.
Should I go ahead?
I'm gonna take some advice from Joe Marino here.
Okay.
And I'm going to, if I find the right mouse, I'm going to do kind of a critique and praise thing. I'm going to go back and forth with what I like, what I didn't like. That's what I want to do. What I like and what I don't like. And I actually highlighted it to make sure that I didn't lose this in the shuffle. I just got to find my Joe Brady part. Okay. So what I first liked about what he said was every year is a new year. You don't get to pick it where you left off. And when you say that, that tells me, I don't really want to hear about how great we were last year. Erase the board, clean the eraser. Let's start over again. We got a lot of the same players, but we got to do things differently, possibly even slightly.
Here, let's play it because I got it on here. You ready?
Every year is a new year, as well as everybody eats approach workplace.
Oh wait, you talking about the offense?
Yeah, I'm not there yet.
Every year's a new year. But you're kind of unique here. You have a lot of guys returning, right? I mean, your whole offensive line, basically 10 guys, running back room, maybe a couple receivers have changed. How does that change your approach as an OC? Everything's different, but you have this building block you've been building with the same group.
Yeah, no, it's unique, but I think a problem that every coach faces every year is if you think you can just pick up where you left off, you lose sight of the details, you lose sight of the how, you lose sight of like what got you to that point. And so, yeah, there's elements of what we did last year that we obviously need to continue to sustain, but there's so many elements we got to get better at. And I think when you just focus sometimes on the good, or we got a lot of guys back, you can get comfortable, and we got to get better on offense.
Okay, so I mean, I appreciate that he's saying, there's work to do, and there's a lot of food left on the table. I'm not going to say everybody eats just yet, because that's going to fall into my red section, Roy. That's when we're going to hit the button. But I like when he said, the guys come into the league and feel like they have to live up to getting a deal. Then when they get the deal, they feel like they have to live up to the contract. But I didn't like what he says. I don't need anyone to live up to anything. They don't have anything to prove to me. He said, I don't live in a world where production is everything. What? hit that button real quick for me one time. Okay, so this is the issue with this sport. Production is everything. He said he's not results driven. How are you not result? I mean, in Little League, when he says when everybody participates, nobody gets hurt, nobody starts crying. That's a good day. There's no score, there's no time. We just have fun. The kids are jumping around, not paying attention. But that's when results don't matter. Results matter when your job's on the line. Results matter when people are burning messages in your front lawn because they didn't like what you called. When they're pranking you, death threats, stuff like that. Results matter because that's what determines what people do when they see you.
Right.
And for me, when he said everybody thinks results are the big picture. It's not. It's about everybody's mindset. Everybody's doing their job, and the results take care of themselves. So everybody is the mindset. It's not about results. So it doesn't matter that we have 5 or 6 guys that are catching 20, 30, 40 balls. We got guys that have 6, 7 touchdowns. Nobody's getting 10. It's not about not having an alpha. It's about everybody loving everybody. Everybody is about everybody cheering on their fellow man when they have a good play. It's about,
let me play it, because I like the part of the reason I started doing is just so everybody knows. Part of the reason I started playing this stuff is because we talk from a place of having heard all this stuff already, and sometimes it seems as though people think we're just like making this stuff up and forming an opinion on things that weren't actually said. So let me play it real quick.
Every year is a new year, as well as everybody eats approach workplace. Do you want it to carry over, and can it carry over to his level of success, given that you've got new pieces in place?
Well, it's about defining what everyone eats kind of means. And to me, it has nothing to ever do with production. It's all about a selfless mindset. It's all about an approach. It's all about hey, I'm going to take care of my job. And if I do my job, everything else will come to me. And so that's all that it ever really is about. And so when guys have success, we want to love each other, and celebrate each other's success. That's what it's about. It's not about, hey, this guy goes for 100 yards and then this guy runs for 100 yards. It's never about that. It's just about celebrating each other's successes and not caring about your own, and caring about finding ways to win football games.
All right. So see, that's the thing. He said, and I have in my notes, he says it's about selfless mindset approach. I'm going to do my job. If I do that, everything else will come to me. No, because I mean, look at what Keon Coleman said when he was in his pre-draft meeting. He said, I know what the offensive line is going to do. I know what that guy's going to do. I know. So by virtue of that means I'm going to have to do more than my job sometimes to keep this thing afloat. Sometimes, not every game. That's when everybody eats. You know, Khalil Shakir's ain't, man, Keon getting undressed today. Josh Palmer can't get off the line today, but I'm beating my man every time. Josh, take a look. You know, he might have 10 receptions for 180 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
And it's not, to me, it's not about celebrating other guys' success. It's about winning the game. You know, it's not, it's and they say you just have to score one more point. That's the cliche. That's the cliche. I'm tired of the cliches. Just show it on the field in the playoffs. We've seen it in the regular season. We've seen, you know, very few games where they actually don't look like they belong on the field. Right. But in this instance, you know, when you say it's a mindset, it's an approach to I'm going to do my job. No, I'm going to make this thing better. You know, if my job is not enough, I got to do more.
Yeah.
You know, and I need to know what they're doing over there. And that's the thing that bothers me about everybody. I never thought it was about numbers. I never did. I thought it was about sum of parts because I thought that they knew that
which is still in a sense production based.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, they're like, okay, we got to get, we'll say 3,800 yards. Mm-hmm. We're not going to have one guy get 15. We're going to have, you know, 6 guys get 5 to 5 or whatever.
Right.
5 to 7. You know, and that's fine. But sometimes you might need a 1,000-yard receiver. Sometimes you might need, you know, that running back that will get you, you know, every hard third down in the world because nothing else is working.
Right.
In the offensive line, sometimes you need, you know, Osiris Torrance to be like, oh man, Connor, you over there, man. Desmond Watson killing you right now. Let me help you out. And that's to me, that's my alarm.
Spin, you must have missed us just playing it. He says everybody eats doesn't mean each player will have an equal amount of targets or yards. It means on any given play, it's not going to be forced to a player. It goes to the open guy. That's not even the definition that Joe Brady gave.
Right.
Joe Brady gave the definition he gave is he really just wants everybody to know their role and play their role. You said this on Monday. It's that exact mindset. It's basically the same as do your job. Mm-hmm. Like that's really all everybody eats is. It's another way of saying do your job. Yep. So we got like fans got that wrong when they first brought it out. It wasn't, oh, well, everybody's gonna contribute because no, they didn't. Right. Like Kincaid barely contributed. Dawson Knox barely contributed. Like it's not everybody eats in that sense. It's not production based at all. It's more so do your job. That's it. It's this is the Patriot way repackaged through Bills media. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the foundation of it all in a sense. And I get every team is like that, but I thought when I heard this, to me, it screamed the focus is culture. The focus is, and here's the thing. This is the crazy part about it. If the focus is not production, if it's not expectation, then how is the focus winning? Because the things that directly connect to winning is expectations and production. Mm-hmm. You cannot win without expectations and production. Yeah. And conversely, and this is the craziest part of it all. If you take away expectation and production, culture by itself cannot win a game. It just can't. Right. You need I've been talking to Papa a lot about this. Well, he's been talking to me a lot about this lately.
Is he eating?
Huh?
Is he eating?
Is everybody he might have been eating one time he was talking to me about this.
So everybody's not eating.
No, damn it. But the idea of convergence, right? He said there's 3 things that a team needs to win. You need quarterback, mm-hmm. coach, and culture. Those 3 things, from a macro standpoint, you need those 3 things to be great in order for you to win a championship, right? The decisions that Nick Sirianni made that led them to the Super Bowl, that led them to have the defense that they had, that led them to not fall apart in the regular season when media was picking at them and picking at A.J. Brown reading his book and all that. Like that's a great job by that head coach, right? Quarterback. One of the better performers in the playoffs, especially the Super Bowl, in Jalen Hurts. He had an amazing game, beating that defense deep. Mm-hmm. So then you look at, okay, well, the culture. The Eagles' culture in general is a culture of we're going to do what it takes to win. Like, in all seriousness, like all the other BS. we're going to do what it takes to win. We're going to trade for AJ Brown, even though we already got a number one receiver in a lot of people's minds in what's the other guy's name?
Who's that? Devontae Smith?
Yeah, Devontae Smith.
Mhm.
Even though we already drafted that guy, he's been a number one. We're going to bring in another number one. Now what they going to do? Oh, okay. Well, we got our receivers now, and running backs weren't super important the last few years. But you know what? We're going to put ourselves over the top again. Let's go get Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, so I mean, I'll expound upon that from Brady's presser. He said, somebody asked him, what is better look offensively when you're scoring 30 points a game? And Brady says, never been about the production or results to me. He goes into it's all about effort. He says it's about body language. He says it all leads to points. Everybody thinks the results are the big picture. It's not. As I said before, it's about the mindset. It's about, so I mean that's tough. And then when you double down and you see when he's talking about Keon Coleman, did you pick up on what he said about that? It was nuanced, but it drove me nuts because
what he say?
It was telling. He said, somebody asked, I think it might have been Sal, I'm not sure, can we move Keon around? And he's, they said, can he be an inside? He said, you know what, I don't believe in inside or outside receivers.
Oh, is that when he said we have no positions?
He said that's where growth of an OC comes in. We have such a dynamic group of guys inside. So if you don't believe in inside outside, put Shakir outside, put Keon inside. Who cares?
Right.
We have such a diverse, dynamic group of guys inside. What about outside? Is everybody going? If you're not outside, then how do you have an inside? Like in Vampire in Brooklyn, if every day's a sunny day, then what's a rainy day? You can't be inside of nothing. So he goes on to say a guy like Khalil Shakir is excellent at what he does. Okay, so he's inside, right? Mm-hmm. That's where he plays, and he's excellent there. So you don't want to move him. So why would you start out by saying, I don't believe in inside outside? Just say we like where we have people.
Right.
He said what do you say? That's what everyone eats is knowing all the positions so you can be everywhere. And then he also said, we want to establish a presence on the outside. But ain't no outside. What? And I saw it wasn't cognitive, it was spin. In caps, it's still not going to change the fact that what we're saying is what we're saying. The expectation is everyone does their job. If everyone does their job, it will lead to winning and production. We know. And what we're saying is not true. Because how many games are you going to see everybody do their job? How many games is 2 or 3 guys not going to get smoked? How many times are you going to see everybody win every route? You're not. But see, that's when somebody else has to say, you know what? I'm taking lead on this one. Yep. This is me. And that's what James Cook did in the AFC Championship.
Ideally, Sean McDermott is the one that wasn't doing his job. Anytime a team goes 1 for 6 on QB sneaks. Anytime a team goes 1 for 6 on QB sneaks, somewhere in there, the head coach failed to step in and say, yo, we 1 for 3 right now. Why don't we try something else? And then we can come back to the QB sneak later on. Like, how do you not figure that out in that game? The game of all games. How do you not figure that out after 4 of them and it only works once?
Yeah. And I like the not segue, but this kind of went well together. Kev in video said kind of a nice little speech almost. Video says Sirianni is not a great coach. Their culture is a bickering one. They only they won because of one superior talent. I'll give you a great game by Hurts though. And Kevin said before that, he said Howie's culture, which is the Eagles GM, is win or be replaced. So if they have a great culture and their culture is win or be replaced,
and they won 2 Super Bowls in the last 4 years,
equal to Super Bowl,
seems to be working.
Yeah, equal to Super Bowl, and I like that.
Or, I'm sorry, 2 in the last 5.
2 in the last 5. It's still really good.
Yeah.
So and Spin, it's I love you like my play brother, but it's just disheartening sometimes when you hear double talking, you don't recognize it, you don't call it out. In the same breath, you say I don't believe in this position, but we got great guys on the inside. You got great guys where? You don't have an inside. Right. It don't exist.
Exactly.
You got wide receivers.
Yep.
So can we move Keon there? I like Khalil there. He's excellent. He's excellent there. Okay, so where's there? Inside? Can't say that word. Doesn't exist. Stop it. Which is it? Just admit you don't we don't have, or you didn't have last year, the outside guy. You didn't have him. You know, Samuel didn't work out. Cooper really didn't do anything. People say he did, but he didn't. Coleman was trying to find his way.
Mhm.
And the only thing that was really working was Hollins and Khalil Shakir.
CD says, yeah, my building resentment towards McD is festering into a full-blown hatred. I'm so done with him. Yeah, bro. Look, the idea is this. If he was showing consistent growth, or even if he goes into this season and he's an even newer coach than he was last year. Like last year, regular season, I think we did see a change in Sean McDermott, the way he called games, and all that kind of stuff. Like you didn't see him allow too many blowouts, but when it was the Jaguars and it was time to go ham on them boys because they got us, man, go get them boys, tear them apart. You never saw Sean do that before. It's always, all right, we're up far enough, guys. Come on. Right. So little stuff like that. The game against the Chiefs where he was very aggressive and ran some press man stuff against them. He blitzed in that game. Like stuff like that during the regular season is like, okay, we may be on to something. He may be getting it now. But you go into the last two games we played in the playoffs, it was we get a lead and we just try to sit and not be moved. And I mean, you overestimated your defense, maybe in a sense. I don't want to say it as if Sean McDermott believed too heavily in his guys because he's supposed to do that. But I think he overestimated the team's or the talent level's ability to accomplish what they wanted to accomplish, because frankly, they just weren't built for what Sean wanted them to do, which was get a 3-point lead and hold a 3-point lead the rest of the game. Like that, they didn't have that. You know what I'm saying? But I did want to get to your thoughts on the defensive coordinator's press conference, because there was something.
Oh, we're done with offense already? Oh man.
Well, I mean, unless we got less than an hour left.
I don't have that much for him, but I mean, I just wanted to point out things that he said. He said he doesn't believe in ceilings because it limits what you think of what you think a guy can do. I don't believe in ceilings because it limits what you think guys can do.
What was it? Oh no, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of the other one. Go ahead.
Also, I wanted to get to some good stuff. And does it matter? Does it really matter in a grand scheme of winning the game? No. But in his terms, what he said, and this went in my yellow was good. So we don't need the siren. He said, he loves what he does. He wants to see the guys around him succeed. He said that's everybody's. He wants to see the guys. Wants to see Josh get the MVP. He wants to see guys go to the Pro Bowl. He wants to see guys get new contracts. He wants to continue to evolve when defenders figure them out. So basically, he's saying, I think that goes in when he said earlier, you can't build off of last year. You got to start over again. He knows they've seen what he did last year, and I think if every team doesn't watch his press conference, they'll think everybody says he's going to throw the ball to everybody in the field. There's never going to be a number one guy. And I think what he's saying in his mind, everybody eats is, if this guy's winning his routes, if this guy is doing whatever, he's hitting the holes the correct way. Yeah. So
I'm sorry. I have to.
Fair enough. So if he's doing so, that's the person that gets fed, and I can appreciate that, but I just struggle with his new definition or his definition now of everybody eats, in terms of it's a mindset. It's not about production. It's not about results. It's a mindset, and that bothers me.
Steve says real quick, because I want you to respond to this. Steve says, I took Brady's comment. I'm sorry. What's up, Steve? Steve says, I took Brady's comment about outside wide receivers is that his wide receivers will line up all over the field. No one is strictly inside or outside.
Well, yeah. I mean, they've always done that. So that's nothing new. That went back to Dayball. Dayball and Earnhardt Perkins. That's what that's built on.
Yeah.
You're built on knowing everything on the field at all times. So when you say I don't believe in inside outside, okay, I can give you that. But then you say Khalil's an elite player inside.
Right.
So you're not moving him. That was shown by I did color code them. Red is sirenable, and yellow is cool, and green was just a hot take that I didn't really have anything about. I liked it. No, my spreadsheet's not 95% red. Oh, A's is red.
Yeah, mine is.
But no, I like Brady's positivity, but I wish that everybody eats thing was cleaned up a little more, because I don't see the juice that everybody said he brings.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, he always seems low in these press conferences.
Yeah, he's like, just,
like he's stressed.
Yeah. He's, and I think when me and Matt went to the training camp, we both came back to the show and we said it was a defense with the juice. The offense was like, so I wish he would step that up a little bit. But like I said, he's probably gonna get a head coaching job in the next year or two.
Yeah, probably.
So he's just got to really hone in on what he believes and what it means, because there's going to be a lot of teams out there that don't have Sakavachio, don't have whoever else is in the press conference room that'll allow you to get away with answers. Because you've heard, if you listen to other pressers, they keep going back to the same question. Once again, are you going to answer this question? Let me ask it a different way. Maybe you didn't understand it.
Exactly.
In Buffalo, it's like, good enough. All right. I don't have anything on that one, but whatever.
You're going to get blackballed and you'll never see the team again. You'll never work in the town again.
Yeah. You got to be careful.
So I had this thought, and I want to see what you think about this.
Go for it.
The way that Joe Brady conducted that press conference, it seemed more like he was auditioning himself for head coaching positions than he was trying to be the offensive coordinator of the Bills. And here's why I say that. For him to talk about not resting on the laurels of last year and not going into every year thinking that what we did last year, we just have to pick up where we left off and all that kind of stuff, right? That's exactly what the Bills have done, in a sense, every year since 13 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Every year has been, okay, we got there. That was close. Let's just, we gotta do all the good things we did last year and take away the bad, and we'll be fine. If we just continue to take away the bad stuff, all we'll be left with is the good stuff, and then we'll succeed, right? But here's Joe Brady saying, well, that's not enough. You got to get better every year. The idea is to improve upon what you've built the year before, to find new and different ways to evolve and all that kind of stuff. A lot of that language flies in the face of the actions that the Buffalo Bills have committed in the last few years, right? And so when I'm thinking about that, I'm like, the Bills PR team is too good to let something like that slide unless it was the direct intention of the person conducting the press conference, right? And I guess what I mean by that is, when you hear Sean McDermott talk and you hear Brandon Beane talk, they say a lot of things that overlap. And especially when you hear Bobby, what's defense coordinator?
Babbage.
Yeah, when you hear Bobby Babbage talk, a lot of his stuff overlaps with Sean McDermott's stuff, right? Like almost all of it. you know what I'm saying? So really, Joe Brady's the only one of the bunch that kind of sticks out right now, but he's also the closest to getting a head coaching gig. Yeah, the thing that really rose me about him, and I'm glad you said it, because I was sitting on it for a while with regards to Joe Brady. The thought that I'm struggling with. Help me with this. It's the thought that he's stuck under McDermott. He was a hot name last year. Yeah. And to a degree, I'm sitting here thinking, could he not have gotten a job somewhere if he really wanted out? Could he not have gotten anything? Because I heard the Saints thing. Didn't he pull out of the Saints job? Yeah, he pulled out of the Saints job. Yeah. So if you really hated it here that much, I'm sure there's a college somewhere that would pay you $6 million a year to be the head coach. I'm sure the Saints. I'm sure they were paying ducats, but you came back. So I understand, the hold that your boss has on you. I get it. But at the same time, if you really hate it. When you say hold, what do you mean? What you're saying, basically, how this is his offense, McDermott's offense. And So if you can't do it, if it's just not you at all, and you have other options, why are you here? So I get Josh Allen, I get it, but you rode him to the point where now you can get that gig because Josh Allen's the MVP. I would have left right there, because that's my calling card. My last quarterback's an MVP. You got a rookie, here I come.
I'm about to fix your guy too. Here I come. Even if it's true or not, because he's known as a quarterback coach. He's known as an offensive coordinator now. And now he's a young guy that could be a head coach. If it was that bad to me, I would think that he would go elsewhere. And so for him to come back to me, and like I said, help me out with this.
Yeah.
That's a struggle for me. Not that he's to be blamed, but there's something more to it than just, he had no other options.
Okay, so I think if Joe Brady came here and sat in the back room with us and just had a conversation, I think there's a high likelihood of him telling us that if the Bears had called, he would have left. But I think with the Saints situation in particular, in which he was probably top 2, top 3 option there, their cap situation is horrible.
Of course.
Right? And at the time that he was being offered the job, Derek Carr was the starter. And that further kind of ruined the cap situation in a sense, because you still had to go through one whole year of Derek Carr's contract just to get to a salary cap next year that is still not great, but it's much better than this year, right? Now, you factor into that him probably knowing how the quarterback class in this year's draft looks, and okay, well, I can't draft the heir apparent to Derek Carr, so what am I going to do? I'm going to go into the following season after that desperately needing a quarterback because Derek Carr's contract is up and I don't have a quarterback. So now I either have to pay Derek Carr to make sure I have some assurances for my job, because if I don't have a quarterback, I'm going to lose, and it's going to be bad, and I'm going to lose my job in 2 years, right? So the other part of this too is these coaches have agents. You know what I'm saying? And the agents tell them where they rank amongst the field for head coaching positions, right? And I think he probably it's very likely that he had a conversation with his agent, and his agent told him, look, your best shot right now is to stick it out in Buffalo. You got Josh Allen. He's raising your stock minute by minute. All you got to do is continue to put up good numbers, and you will be justified for a head coaching spot when it comes available. The right spot, though. You know what I'm saying? Not just any spot. That's why I said I truly believe if Chicago would have came calling for Joe Brady, he would have taken that job immediately, because he's got a great young quarterback. He's got great offensive weapons. It would have made him look great right off the bat.
Yeah. See, for me, this is not a combat to anybody, because people in the comments are kind of saying New Orleans was bad, which I know I won't watch New Orleans because I just won't. But no, my thing is, if people, because he's not the only one that pulled out of that job.
Right.
You had Slowick that went back to Texas. You had other guys that went elsewhere, and I'm sitting here
went back and ended up getting fired.
That's crazy,
weird,
right?
yeah.
Weird. And my thing is, if he were playing, I'm like, you know what? I can't do nothing with this team right now. I can't do nothing with this team in 2026. Your cap sucks, but in 2027 you have 145 million. If I get to that place, that's when the clock starts. In 2027, that's when it starts. What we're gonna do, we're gonna bottom out. We're gonna get a top 5 draft pick in the 2026, 2027 draft. We're gonna get that quarterback. Because they know who the quarterbacks are coming out.
Right.
So in my mind, I'm like, okay, 145 million. You got a rookie cost controlled quarterback, and you can go get him some elite talent. Who is it? I don't know. We'll just say no, it's not Malik Neighbors
in New Orleans too, warm weather state.
And that's the thing, and that, see, when there's a team that's that bad and everybody knows they're that bad, where people don't want to go there, you have some leverage. You can say, you know what? Okay, but I want verbiage in my contract that says I'm here until 2027 to get to that draft. And they may not do it. But then in that case, he just didn't get the job, and it's now he backed out, this, that, and third. But I would have played that game if I really wanted out.
Right.
So I get it. I understand. And coming back to, Buffalo, a place where and a coach that now, and a quarterback that you're cool with, and a situation that you built, yeah, of course you're gonna want to do that. But in my mind, it's like, if it's not my situation, if I don't like it at all, if this is nothing I want to run, anything like what I want to run, with no cap too, and you're not drafting guys I want because you're going defense for the head coach, you're giving me Kincaid, which I didn't. I mean, did you see his face when they drafted Kincaid and Keon Coleman? He was in the back like, I guess I think he said, didn't he say, I'll work whatever they give me?
Right.
He said that. So this is not what he wants. These are not the guys he's lobbying for.
Right.
He didn't even come into the draft last year until like the second day. We didn't see him on the screen. We mentioned it. Remember, we said it.
I already know they ain't getting what I want. I'm not even going to be.
He was in the back like, yeah. So I mean, my thing is, and when it comes to it, I get it. I 100% agree with anybody that says Buffalo's the best move. Yeah, New Orleans is bad, but when they're that bad and everybody knows they're that bad, the expectations are on the floor.
Well, right. And okay. So I see what you're saying. And I think he would have to have some assurances that he would have the leeway.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because that's the scary part is that you're a first-time head coach. You don't know if they're hiring you to be a bridge head coach to just get them through these hard times when they bottom out and then blame you for the bad times and go hire a big name guy after you. You know what I mean? That's the tough part.
That is the tough part. And that's the part we don't know. And that's what, like I said, I'd have put my offer in there. You give me your offer.
Yeah.
Let's see where it ends up. I wouldn't pull out just because, unless I really just want to come back to the safety net of Buffalo, which is fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I mean, you're usually good at pulling out from what I.
Yes.
Talk about it.
Yes. One child.
I, however, am not so great.
Total different conversation. Back to NFL, please. Back to NFL, please.
But yeah, no, I think people I missed a lot of this. People are saying, I missed where it started, but somebody said it would make zero sense for Beane to make a coaching decision, Beane as a GM.
To choose a coach.
I'm not sure if should we scroll up some?
Yeah.
Let's see. Best part of being Brady to being head coach is being the OC in Buffalo. He will be unleashed. Beane will need to protect Brady this year. I bet if he got offers at school. Yeah, so we said that. I'm not sure where it started. Oh well. Anyway, let's go on to Babbitt. What would you have?
So I think they. Well, let me ask you this: what's the deal with Jordan Hancock? Is he injured or something? Okay, so he's not.
Yeah. No, he's not injured.
Okay, so that's what I thought. I thought I might be crazy when I had this thought, but when I heard about this extensive, detailed, time-sensitive game plan, yeah, like what the for him? Just for him?
Like what? I never heard this before.
You're right. What the hell is so special about this dude?
What did he do?
Right. That's what I'm like. Did he break something? Is there an injury we don't know about? It's got to be something.
Something. I don't know what that's all about at all.
So, if I'm not mistaken, Taron Johnson only has 2 years left on his deal. You know what? Let me go check here.
I can pull it up real fast.
All right. Yeah. Pull that up. So, if I'm not mistaken, Taron Johnson has two years left on his deal, right? And by the time the deal ends, he will be like 30, 31, somewhere around
31. He's got a void year 28, but 27 is the last year that he's actually going to be a Bill.
Okay. So it looks like they're preparing for his departure, right? They got a guy that they've identified in Jordan Hancock as this is the next Taron Johnson, right? So this extensive, detailed, time sensitive. When you say time sensitive, is like how can it not be that?
I'm scared when I hear that.
Right. So again, I think all of this points to, and I'm not even sure that Babbage meant to give us that, but I'm willing to bet money that this is the guy that's supposed to replace Taron Johnson like immediately. You know what I'm saying? This is going to be a guy they want to get on the field. They want to get him as much work, as much study time, as much everything that they can to equip this guy to be able to take over for Taron Johnson so that they can keep this nickel business going. Right now, for everybody who can't stand the nickel, we have to root against Jordan Hancock in order for this monster of a nickel defense to be destroyed once and for all. That is the only way.
I'm gonna get a t-shirt, destroy the nickel. Heel, get on it right away.
We have to do everything we can subliminally and just up front to destroy Jordan Hancock's confidence, to let him know that we do not believe in him, and to let him know that he is welcome to go somewhere else as soon as possible.
He doesn't have to play. Don't play yet.
It's not personal. Just don't play
not
here.
Personal. Right. It's not personal. You can be off, bro.
Right.
That's funny. He comes out. You cheer for everybody else. He comes out. You boo him. So instantaneously.
You got to do it.
Boo. What did I do? I didn't even.
If you hate the nickel defense, this is what you have to do. Period. There's no way around it. Unfortunately, I'm sorry, Jordan Hancock. It's not personal. We are just at war now with
right.
this scheme that keeps getting us beat in the playoffs. But yeah, that was my biggest takeaway from this is like, oh my God, they're doing whatever they got to do to keep this stupid defense going.
Yeah, I think okay, we'll have to hit the button one more time. There you go. All right. They asked about Dane and Trey being back, and he said they're here for Max. You know, they're definitely here to help him because obviously talent is important, but Buffalo is a special place, and you have to have the right person in place to influence people around them. So both those guys are selfless and want to see the young guys improve. They're Bills type players. They're Bills type players. They're Bills type players. They're Bills type players.
What's the Bills type?
I'll help you out because I don't if I don't get on the field, it's fine. I'll help you out. Don't worry.
Yeah.
You know, it's not iron sharpens iron. I'm going to take your job every day. You better look over your shoulders. I'll help you out.
You can have my job if you want.
You can have it. Have my number too.
That's right.
and it's like they say stuff and people they don't pick it up. You know, or they might pick it up and they just don't want to pick it up.
Our offensive linemen say excuse me when they run the QB sneak.
They do.
Yeah.
Pardon me. Do you mind if we okay.
Right. They offer the spot first.
We're coming here. Can you just move to the 4? Just go to the 4. Just a smidge more. They use words like smidgen. Yeah.
That's right.
But no, I think that got me, you know, and to your point, you said something earlier when it came. I'm sorry. It was somebody in the chat, and I'm sorry. I keep saying somebody because it was a long time ago now, and this thing is moving now. But they said Bosa was the best pass rusher available in free agency. This was a deep draft for pass rushers. And if you look at the next gen stats for Joey Bosa, he was on time to pressure. You're like this time to pressure. He didn't even qualify because he didn't play enough snaps. But if he did, he'd be 129th in the league. Russo, all those guys were all the way up there.
Oh my God!
Why are we poo-pooing on Epinesa? Why is it what did he do so bad? He gives you 6, 6.5, 7 sacks every year. Is that not enough and everybody eats?
Yeah.
He's at 6. Russo's got 8, maybe 9. You got Ed Oliver give you 3 to 5. You got Daquan Jones or whoever, you know, TJ Sanders, who may be the new starter, who's going to give you maybe 4 or 5 sacks. That's enough.
I think the question that comes to my mind is what's the difference between Greg Rousseau and any of these other pass rushers the last few years? Like, what is the difference to where he gets to get drafted and come in immediately and be the starter and be the guy and be this player that you expect to save the defense?
60% of snaps, 66% of snaps.
Right. Like,
only one.
What's the difference between him and any of the other defenders that were available for the Buffalo Bills in the last what, 5 drafts?
Yeah. And that's the thing, you know, people say, well, they didn't know who they're going to get. That's okay. That's fine. You didn't know who you're going to get, but guess what? This was the draft of drafts to get an edge.
Yes.
This was the draft of drafts. You could have gotten, you know, Pearson and Green were supposed to be going in the first round, but they weren't. But then if they were going, look at the guys that were second round talent. The third,
yep.
If you really didn't have Bosa and you really need that need, Max Harrison, sorry, brother, we're going to take a D in here. That's what we're going to do because we need one that bad. And all the guys that we need are there. We could have traded back and got another pick. Max Harrison probably wouldn't have been there, you know, in the mid-second round, but that's the risk I'd be willing to take if I had to do that. That's another thing that we're talking about. We say the Bills always got to, they spend money that they don't need to because they don't want to trust their evaluation. They don't want to trust their process. And yeah, they're going to redshirt Harrison because right now, they can't tell you who's lining up with the first, with the second, with whatever, but they can tell you that Trey White is taking first team snaps without saying it.
Oh yeah,
I mean they said it. He's out there talking to Taylor Rapp, talking to Christian Benford, talking to Cole Bishop. He's out there talking to these guys. Why is he talking to those
guys?
why?
Because Hairston's getting beat.
Yeah,
he's getting beat.
They said Keon Coleman was dusting him, and Keon Coleman was a 4.6. They said he was dusting him. And they were talking about speed, not vertical, not high point balls.
No, but so here's the other thing. You pointed out his shuttle time, right? That speaks to his ability to cut and mirror receivers. If his athletic ability is limited in that sense, and then you combine that with his, I'll say with my report on his limited processing ability.
Mm-hmm.
You combine both of those things, you got a guy that's going to get beat a lot and have to use his speed and athleticism just to recover enough to be a part of the play.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's no part of this. There's no part of this situation right now that you can point to and say, I'm very excited at the prospects right now. This kid is coming in as a first round pick and going against NFL receivers, and right off the bat in 7-on-7 drills, when his athleticism and his, and his ability is supposed to shine, and he's out here getting destroyed. I mean, so much so that 30-year-old Trey White has got to come and save the day.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair,
yeah,
you and I kind of knew this was probably going to be the case.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because the Bills, they say they love to develop talent, but realistically, in their minds, they know that the guys that they're drafting are going to take time to develop.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a matter of we love to develop guys. Heck, at the beginning of this entire regime, it was we want to build through the draft. They don't do that.
Yeah.
They that's not their singular focus. If you look at what they've done, the actions they put on the field, it's been we'll fill up on free agency, and then we'll the icing on the cake will be these draft picks.
And see, if that's the case, fine. But this is what I have a problem with. Why is it that we're trading up in the first round? Why are we trading up 23 spots in the fourth round? Why are
exactly.
If you're going for depth, just take the depth. Take who's there. They're going to be there. But what's the big need? Why is Deion Walker so important? Why is TJ Sanders so important if you're going to go get the free agents anyway? Who was it? Cato. Hancock is a half inch taller than Johnson, so not really. Johnson is I think 5'11" and a quarter, and Hancock is 5'11" 3/4. So
okay.
Yeah, they're super close. So it's not that big of a Johnson, just like a hobbit on the field. Laura, I was gonna say that. Yeah, Keon, I'm not proud because I expected it. And
he said he was going to be a beast this year, so I believed it.
Yeah, I expect it because we've seen it, and we have no reason to doubt that he can do it.
Yeah,
in the right situation. Now, is he going to be the guy that's gonna run an excellent route and beat people with technique? No.
OLI gifting another membership. Who got it?
Raise your hand.
Yeah. Billy D said he said, Coach, I got BBQ chicken over here.
Ooh, BBQ chicken.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you said trade it for Walker so you don't need to sign a D10 free agency next year. Why can't you just draft one next year?
Wait, who said that?
Spin. You said trade it for Walker so you don't need to sign a D10 free agency next year. Just draft one.
Yeah.
Just do it again. You don't have to sign free agents just because you have the money. You can just draft them. We have capital for a reason. Use all the draft picks.
Yep.
If you're going for depth, you just draft them. I heard a couple of times that Keon would beat Harrison. And I've heard Harrison's had a couple decent plays, but Keon's looking pretty good. Elijah Moore, everybody is going Google over. But I'm going to say right now, like I said the last time, I'm not going to be that guy. I'm not falling for it. I mean, not saying they suck or anything like, but I'm not falling for the hype. I'm not falling for what I can't see. And they did this.
Yeah,
because
that's dangerous.
Yeah, it was an NBA clip. I wish I remember who it was. It was Kendrick Perkins. Kendrick Perkins. His highlight reel when they went to Oklahoma City and they had him on the screen because he played there.
Mm-hmm.
And turns out they showed the same dunk in 4 different
angles.
So it looked like 4 different plays, but it was the same play. Yeah, it was the same exact dunk on the same guy in the same scenario, but they showed him different angles, different vantage points to make it look like it was, something different, like he was better than he actually was. And that's what all these videos do. I heard Savers burn Harrison. Maybe.
I mean, probably.
Maybe.
Probably. CD says one of those reporters had me worried about worried AF about Harrison with their report. Don't remember who it was, but I listened to other guys after and they had totally different views on his performance. I mean, so much of this draft pick and all these draft picks really is just what you want to see.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? If you're looking at it from Sean McDermott's perspective, he loves it because these guys fit the culture, right? One of the things I wanted to bring out too about this process of building your starters from free agency is, again, culture is the singular focus. Like the press conference with Joe Brady should have told you that, especially with his definition of everybody eats. It's culture based. So the other side of this too is, based on what I know, based on stuff from the Tyler Dunn report, Sean McDermott wants the locker room to be relatable to him. Okay, pay attention to how I said that. He wants the locker room to be relatable to him, not him being able to relate to the locker room. He wants the locker room relatable to him. He wants there's a conforming that has to take place there with the culture of the locker room and its head coach, right? I want guys, excuse me, I want guys in this locker room that I feel like I can talk to and relate to and communicate effectively with and build with. I want guys that I feel comfortable with as a head coach. Never mind, I want guys in here that push me to be a better coach, that push me to get better at communicating, to push me to bridge the gap and work with a diverse amount of minds and personalities and thought processes. I don't want those issues. No, I want a bunch of people that are basically all older or come from home cultures that fit what we have here.
Something that won before.
Right. So again, that's the singular focus. I don't care how you slice it up. I don't care what player you're talking about. At the end of the day, the singular focus of this team is culture. So when you look at why they go to free agency as much as they do, that's why. They want the veteran players being those types of guys that are coming here to continue to be settled down, to continue to not be rowdy, to continue to be, at that level of maturity and wisdom to where they're not going to rock the boat. They're going to appreciate the chance that they have here with this team to possibly make a name for themselves. But if they don't, they're fine being part of a winning culture. You know what I mean? All these things point to not a lack of, but just not as much emphasis on production and what was the other thing we talked about? Production and expectations, right? That, to me, if we don't remember anything else about this conversation, we need to remember that what was brought out in these press conferences, and namely in Joe Brady's press conference, was the lack of focus on production and expectation.
Yeah, and to this point, Spence said Bean goes into the draft with position filled, so he doesn't need to force picks. How's that working? How's it working out? I mean, that's the answer to the question right there. How's it working out? I don't care. Spin, once again, I think you know this by now. It's not you, but my point is, when people say stuff like that, it's like, what does that mean when we're not getting to the ultimate goal? I mean, you keep doing the same thing over and over again. It's clearly wrong then, because you just watched the Philadelphia Eagles team. What's the average age of that team? Who knows? But I bet it's younger than us, and I bet that most of those guys they have on that team are drafted. So you can say Saquon Barkley all you want. Maybe he was the thing that put him over the top. So why is it that we don't just have one thing that can put us over the top? Was it Von Miller that was supposed to do it? No, but they thought it was.
Right.
And let's see, going on to say the same reason why we signed Ogunjobi. If we didn't sign Ogunjobi and he was available after the draft, we wouldn't sign him. That's why I draft DT this year, so you don't have to spend that money next year. Ogunjobi, whatever. He honestly he's not. But I liked your point, even though I don't agree with the idea. It's not you. I liked your point about them going into it with the positions filled, because if you look at what Babbitt said about Michael Hesh, basically he said, I gotta find it. No, he said, when we got him, he's a Swiss Army knife, but we got to figure out where he fits. We got to figure out what he does. I've seen him. I said, wow, he's a good guy, but I don't really know what he is. But he's something. And we want to see him when he comes in before they have to leave to figure it out. Why didn't you figure it out before you brought him in?
Exactly. Why call his name if you don't know what he is?
You don't know what he is. It's like, okay, is he a D tackle? No, he's 265 pounds. Is he a defensive end? Not really.
Right.
Is he a linebacker? Where? We don't have a strong side linebacker. So is he going to cover? He's a rush guy, sure, but what is Joey Bosa for? Why did you need both of them? When you and to Cato's point, I know I definitely would have been good with Evanescence not being here anymore. But when you look at the lay of the land now and what we're presented with in terms of Landon Jackson, Javon Solomon, Joey Bosa, which whatever, and Hoyt, those Hoyt, not Hesh. Actually, somebody said they asked him if he ever heard of Jochen Hesh, the saber, because it's not spelled the same, but when you see it, you think it's the same thing. But no, and the thing is, when you're talking about bringing a free agent at $7 million, $12 million, $8 million, $10 million, and you got to figure out what are we going to do with them, that's a problem.
I think the biggest question that comes into play here is how do you build a culture on the field, right? Like the idea of a team's identity, right? Because everything you're saying leads me back to something you said a long time ago, which is, what the heck is the identity of this team? What are they trying to be on the field? Right. Never mind what they're trying to be in the locker room. What are you trying to be on the field? What's the identity of your team? When you look at the Steelers, their identity is defense, tough, hard-nosed defense, and running the ball, right? That's the identity of that team. It has been for that franchise for decades, right? Ravens football, you're going to play against a tough defense. They just happen to have a damn good quarterback that can play some good offense now, right? You look the Browns. The Browns have always traditionally been a great defensive team, right? But then you go and you look at teams like the Green Bay Packers, have always been a traditionally good offense because they've had great quarterback play. They've had good running backs, right? So these teams, these winning franchises, they develop identities as a franchise, and then they placate to that, and they build a culture around that. What is our identity on the field? Okay, we need guys that fit that mentality on the field to be a part of the culture in the locker room. They build it the opposite way of the Bills right now, right? And so when you look at that, and you look at teams like the Packers, teams like the Patriots now, because they had a 20-year run, but these franchises that have established themselves as traditionally strong winning franchises, the 49ers, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's the way they build their teams. And then here you have Buffalo, who's building their team from the inside out. And then you end up with what? No identity on the field. Well, what's your identity on the field now? It's Josh Allen. That's it.
And that's the problem. I mean, it's been said in the comments, but I mean, the mic drop. That's the thing. That's how Bean is. All I gotta do is say, Josh, hello, Josh. Y'all see Josh out there, right?
Yeah.
I don't pay to see Josh.
Right.
I pay to see them. I pay to see them. I don't pay to see one guy, because one guy can't do it out there on the field.
That's right.
It's not possible. We've talked about this. People think he can. Show me when he punts the football. No, don't do that, because he might. Because he might do a pooch cut, but it doesn't work that way. It just doesn't, and that's why when people say that, that's why we're in the situation we are right now, because it's never going to get you over the top. Everybody knows the identity of the Bills is Josh Allen. You stop him, you cut the head off of the monster, you're done. There's no chance of anything else. I bet you Dallas Adonis that James Cook's performance in that AFC Championship took the Chiefs and their fandom by surprise. You're like, who the hell is this number 4 guy? How do we get him? He's going to be available next year? What? We have to have this guy. He's a priority free agent for somebody right now.
Can you imagine if he goes to the Chiefs, bro?
I can see that.
Right. I can't too. Just be like, his skill set alone is like, they would put him in the pass game. They would spread him out wide. I don't even want to think about him having some Chiefs red and yellow on. I can't process that. If that happens, man, watch out.
Yeah.
Watch out.
Yeah, and that's what I have the quote that Babbage had on Hoyt now. He said we got to get him in, and he's got to learn the playbook. He said, because we need to see where he fits in our defense. He said he had a unique skill set in LA, but we need to figure out where that translates to us. But you signed him to not a 1-year contract to figure it out. You committed. You got a 6-game suspension. So he's got to leave the premises. He can't learn the playbook. You can't see him then. And that's an issue. And I don't know if you caught the end of it, of his presser, where he basically said, they asked about the expectation he places on Cole Bishop. And it was funny how he answered it, because I don't know if you caught it or not, but what he said was, I never stand up here and put expectations on a player. He said, the only expectations I have for a player, anytime they step on the field, are competing their butts off. He said, any player that my expectation is higher than theirs, we have a problem. As long as any player expectations are lower than mine, we're in trouble. So so you don't have expectations, but your expectations can't be higher than their expectations. So if you don't have the expectations, just try as hard as you can. This is what he said.
Basically,
just compete your butt off. No, that's why incentives are in contracts, because those are called what? Expectations.
That's right.
You get $1 million for 10 sacks because I expect you to do so. You expect to do so. And that's these incentives for guys in Buffalo are weird to me, because they say, the guys in Buffalo are selfless. Everybody eats. Why do I care about my incentive? I don't need that. As long as we're winning, I don't care about that. So it tells you that they do, at the end of the day, they do care about these things. They just don't want it to be the forefront, which I can appreciate, but let's not act like it doesn't exist. It does. And also, I don't know what your thoughts are with Babbage when he said, they asked him about the cornerback 2 position. Is it fair to say it's wide open? He said, every position is wide open.
Oh God, I hated when he said that.
He said everybody.
Oh
I mean, did you see the look in his eyes? Well, you just re-signed Terrell Bernard. Every position is wide open. You hear me? Every position. So I'm like, what?
Right. That's ignorant as all get out. You got to be kidding me, bro. You just gave Terrell Bernard the bag, and he qualified it by saying, well, if he doesn't perform. Yeah, of course, if he doesn't perform. We know that about every position if they don't perform. But guess what? On day 1 of the season, you're not going from training camp where he barely plays because you want to keep him healthy. Why? Because he's your starter. And then you're gonna go into the first game of the season and say, you know what, TB, you only played like 13 snaps, man. We got this guy that played 45 snaps. We're gonna give him your job for now. And if he falls off, then we'll bring you back in. Even though we just paid you all this money.
Yeah, Greg Rousseau, same thing.
Exactly. You didn't earn it because you only played 13 snaps. First thing he gonna say is, well, you kept me off the field because you didn't want me to get hurt. Right. You took the starters out, didn't you?
Right. Right.
Didn't you?
Yeah.
Because you wanted to keep us healthy, right, Joe?
Yeah.
Like, or Bobby, like, you know what I mean? Like that to me is the.
It was, that hurt. I was like, what do you mean? He said, we're early in this thing and every position is wide open. Asked about Rousseau. He's competition is the best leader of success. Success is an awful teacher. What? Competition is the best leader of success, but success is an awful teacher. Failure is the best teacher. Okay. So, this is everybody knows the saying, right? Practice makes what? Junie, practice makes what? It makes what perfect? No. Practice makes permanent. Makes permanent. You practice the wrong thing a million times, guess what? You're wrong. And you're very good at being wrong. And I'm not coming at you because that's what everybody says. Now, one of my basketball coaches said this. And T's watching and she's like, don't say that corny ish again, because she knows the guy that said it. But it's true. It's practice. True. If you practice the jump shot wrong 3 days in a row,
it's going to be a permanent bad
permanent.
Shot.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
And so, and so he says failure is the best teacher. No, you learn from the failure and you go out there and do it the correct way next time. And they said, I think, was it Lyndon Jackson that said, or somebody? No, it was was it Deion Walker that said they have little things like they move your foot over a quarter of an inch because this is optimal. This, that, and third. Your stance is off. This you're leaning the wrong way. You're giving it. You have a tail this way. But see, that's the thing that you want to practice. We want you to fail, but we ain't doing that no more. We don't learn from correcting it right away. So competition is the best leader of success. Success is an awful teacher. I don't believe so, because if you're successful, I want to do that again. Who doesn't want success over and over and over again? Who doesn't? And that goes back to our rudimentary years when we were a kid and we got our hands slapped for doing the wrong thing. Like, I don't want that no more. But you get them chicken nuggets for getting an A. Remember being our age now, you got those what was it, Read to Achieve, those little personal pan pizzas for reading a book.
Yep.
We wanted that pizza. It was horrible pizza, but we wanted it. And,
Sure did.
And that's how you incentivize young guys, which you're bringing into the team.
Right.
You know, he talked about Landon Jackson. Landon Jackson, you said this, you said this, and it was beautiful. How they like guys that are set in their ways, guys that don't want to go out, guys that want to do that. Bobby Babbitt said, Landon Jackson, he's a large human being. First of all, no, he's not. And secondly, why'd you have to say he's married? Who cares? Good for him. What does that have to do with football right now? We're talking about football. He's married. His maturity factor. That's why you got him. That's why you got him.
See, that just fits into what I was
That's
saying.
what I'm saying.
Like,
When you said I wanted to jump it, but I did it like 8
my
times
God.
already. I'm like, I'm being rude. So I got to sit on this.
You good? You good? I like this question though. All I asked, he said, "Do y'all have an underdog player this season you are rooting for to become a starter?"
Yes. Actually, yes. And this is going to blow your socks off, people.
Oh boy,
Landon Jackson. Landon Jackson.
You know, I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that. You actually, you know who I'm rooting for, to be perfectly honest? Deion Walker.
I could take that.
I would love for that 6'7", 320. You know what
That'd
I
be
mean?
interesting. Yeah.
Get in there, be athletic, be that 1 tech and that 3 tech that the Bills have needed for years and years and years, and just be dominant, bro.
Mhm.
Like, if the back injury is done and over with, go be a monster.
Yeah. Yep.
I would love that.
Spence said Forrest, and Kev said
Elijah Moore. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would love to see Elijah Moore out there too.
Yeah, I really just want to put it into this Bosa deal. I don't want to go through this next year with the defensive end. Are we going to get a free agent? We want to have an answer there because Bosa's on 1 year deal. He's not the answer. Michael Hoyt is not the answer, even though he's going to be here for 3 years probably. I think the fact that you invested in Landon Jackson, that you called him obsessively, according to him.
Yeah.
You like him. You know, he's mature. He's got the body type of Greg Rousseau. There's no reason in the world why he shouldn't be a starter by the end of the season.
Joey Bosa, how much are we on the hook for?
What now?
Yeah, we're
12
million we're
Yep,
on the
12.
hook for if we cut him.
Mm-hmm.
That folks is what they call a tough spot, because a calf injury is literally a calf injury is literally a clear indicator that there's something going on with the ankle, the Achilles, somewhere around that area. Like that calf giving out like that, you're a stone's throw away from him being gone for the season.
Mm-hmm.
With an injury like that's already started, right? It's sort of the same thing that happened with Matt Milano, because originally it wasn't the bicep, it was him coming back from a pectoral injury, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he comes back from a pectoral and ends up with a bicep injury. Well, stuff like that happens in the general area. Other muscles are trying to compensate and end up having to overcompensate, and you end up with injuries. So again, the idea that, look, I'm probably just gonna hold on.
There you go.
I think Bosa is going to be hurt most of the season.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's the highest likelihood of any scenario regarding Joey Bosa this season is him being injured for most of it.
Yeah.
You start off with a calf injury, that's not going to stop. That's not going to just go away and all of a sudden he's perfectly fine. He came in here healthy. He came in here, physically fit. He passed the physical, right? Which means you can go out and play. You're fine,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then he got hurt doing drills, bro.
Non-contact tackling bag.
That's what I'm saying. You got hurt doing drills. The same way Matt Milano got hurt, by the way.
Yeah.
The same way. Tackling a bag. My bicep.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Maybe you shouldn't have been clear, but that's another story.
I mean, he was on, was he on the PEDs? Maybe roids.
Man.
But I tell you what he should have been on. He should have been on that Reeves tea.
For sure.
He should have been on that
For
Reeves tea.
Yeah,
Because
tell
that
him
Reeves
why.
tea is 1 part refreshing, 1 part delicious, but more important than ever, 2 parts healthy. That's your Achilles healthy. That's your calf healthy. Or in Matt Milano's case, your pectoral healthy, your bicep healthy. Don't take that word from me. Take it from a physician. He would recommend Reed's tea too. As a matter of fact, 9 out of
Oh,
10 physicians do recommend Reed's tea.
Oh my gosh, do that.
Allegedly, anyway.
Yeah.
So what can you expect when you get the 4 ingredients? You'll get a full season of play out of Matt Milano and Joey Bosa. I don't drink tea, but they should. They'll tell you it's a good drink. What are you doing? Head over to Reed's Tea. Get yourself a case or individual. Don't be like Matt Milano and Joey Bosa.
Please don't be like that.
You won't be disappointed when you're walking around and lifting stuff with no problem. What do I know? See for yourself. Reed's Tea. Click the link in the description below. Use the code PPP to let them know who sent you. That was the hardest read I ever had.
Well done, bro.
That was the hardest one I've ever done.
Well done, bro. You held it down just fine. All right, it's 7:27. We got to jump out the window, so let me get started now here. All right. Hear that music? That means it's time for us to jump out the window, like I just did. So, if you could please, there's 947 people watching right now. If you want to support the show in any way, the freest way to do it is to go to our YouTube channel right there.
You still got it.
And hit that subscribe button. That greatly helps the algorithm push us and get us the followers and the funding we need to be able to make this show bigger and better. We got a full studio of stuff that we just don't have time to set up for you guys production wise, but there's a lot of stuff that we could be doing. So if you want to see bigger and better things, we got to grow the show. That's the only way we can get enough time to do that, is if we're getting the support that we need. So thank you for everybody that is watching, and if you could recommend us to just one friend, we greatly appreciate that as well. Also hit that like button, hit that you gotta hit the bell. When you hit the subscribe button, you also gotta hit the bell so that you can get notifications when we send notifications. Like, we are literally 1 week away from releasing the new Madden content in our membership program. So if you want to start seeing those videos and that content and the hilarity that ensues, you gotta be a member. So you make sure you get in there and get in where you fit in. Hop in the Discord chat with us. We talk about literally everything from the sun to the core of the earth.
Yes.
Everything gets discussed in the Discord chat, not just football, not just Bills.
Nope.
Okay. Other than that, look, if you have any kind of tech issues, need tech repairs, tech installations, anything from TVs to computer bills to laptops to cell phones to video game controllers, High Mic High Tech is the company you want to go see. My man Rich, who's in here all the time repping Sean McDermott. He's a huge Sean McDermott fan, but after that, he's also the best tech guy I know. Has helped us with several problems, as you can tell. No more Temu cords on our video and all that kind of stuff. So, with that being said, make sure you hit him up. High Mic High Tech is the website. Okay, our website for our merchandise is in the description of this video. There are a bunch of other links, so make sure you check those out. Our producer Junie's got his own show, his own basketball podcast, Basketball Truth and Knowledge on YouTube. He's also got a gaming channel he just started on YouTube and Twitch. He's Babyface Assassin 21 on both. So make sure you check that out. Other than that, we got to get going. Thank everybody for watching. This has been the Post Podium Podcast. One more membership gifted out. Appreciate that, OLI. I'm definitely losing money on the whole, getting this done in 90 seconds. Yeah. But anyway, we got to get out of here. Thank you so much, everybody, for staying with us this whole entire time. This has been the Post Podium Podcast, home of the All Truth, No Sodium takes. I have been your co-host, Aramis.
Miss 40 Keys. We out. Happy birthday to you. Happy